Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reacting my third and final Night Time Spooks video for you guys, and this was titled 4 True Movie Theater Horror Stories with Rain Sounds. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and then the bag show. Okay, here we go.
This story happened about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I went with my brother and his friend Sean to see some spy movie. I don't even remember what it was called. My brother and Sean were 8 years old and I was 17 at the time, so I had to go with them because my parents were busy.
Hey, you get to spend time with your brother and his friend and get away from your parents. That's always a plus. Also, spy movies always thrilling to see. But anyway, let's continue.
It was a Friday night, so the movie theater was packed. It was a fairly large theater and a good number of different movies showing at once. We decided to sit in the very back middle of the theater that we were in. There were some pretty good seats. There was maybe around 30 other people at this movie. Kind of a lot, but not too crowded. We were watching the previews before the film when my brother said they wanted food, so we all went to the concessions. When we got there, we got in line and waited. The movie theater had a display about 20 feet away of an upcoming movie. My brother and Sean walked over to look at it. Once it was my turn, I ordered our food and got it. Then I went back over to my brother, but Sean wasn't with him. I asked him where he was. My brother said that he went with a man. What man? I asked him. The man that was just here, my brother said. My heart started pounding and I got really hot. I asked him where they went. My brother pointed down the hall. I ran in that direction and saw at the end of a long hallway a man opening an exit door with a boy leading outside. I sprinted as fast as I could to the end of the hall and busted the door open and ran outside. I looked around for a couple of seconds. Then I saw the man opening a car door and Sean was with him.
Oh man, we got a kidnapping situation here. I'll be yelling at that kid's name, Sean, to tell him, no, don't get in the car.
I yelled at the man and ran towards them. Then I saw a man push Sean to the ground and quickly get in his car and drive away. Sean looked really confused. I ran over and helped him to his feet and asked him if he was all right. He was fine, but he asked me why the man pushed him. I told him he was trying to kidnap him, and we went back inside to find my brother. Once we did, I reported the incident to the theater, and the police were called. It was a whole big scene, and everybody came out to watch. I was unfortunately unable to get the man's license plate in the heat of the moment, but thankfully I was able to save Sean from potentially being abducted. I asked my brother and Sean why he went with the man. They told me the man promised them a new video game that had recently come out. It turns out my brother already had the game, so he didn't want to go with, but Sean didn't have it yet. That was my movie theater horror story.
Lord have mercy. If somebody walks up to you saying, hey, I got one of them brand new video games that hasn't even come out yet, would you like one? Don't buy into it, because it's the same thing with like strangers trying to lure kids in with candy. They lure you to the car and then they kidnap you. Probably for ransom or trafficking. I don't know. But anyway, let's get to story number 2.
When I was a kid, about 12 years old, I went with my friend one night to the movies. There was this really old movie theater a couple of miles from my house, and my friend and I would occasionally ride our bikes there to go to movies. We didn't go that often, but it was always a fun time when we did. One of those nights we went on a day that it wasn't very busy. We went to see a movie, and when it was done, we wanted to sneak into another one. We got into one auditorium and snuck into the back. We stayed there for about 5 minutes, but we weren't really into the movie that was playing, so we decided to sneak into another one. We left and went into the one next door. This one was on the end. It did not have a movie playing in it and was completely empty and quiet. My friend and I found this interesting, and being kids, we ran around it just horsing around and hanging out for a few minutes.
I ain't gonna lie, but if I was a kid in a movie theater setting and there wasn't nobody else there and no movie playing, I probably would have used that as an advantage for a little hide and seek game or just horse around too. But that is kind of strange. If it's a movie theater, all the theater rooms would have been packed or playing something. So that's a little bit strange.
Out of nowhere, we heard laughing noises coming from the auditorium we were in. It sounded like an old man laughing. We looked at each other with a confused and shocked look on our faces. It was coming from the back of the theater that we were in. It was coming from the back of the theater, and we were in the front of it. We walked a little closer and looked towards the back. It was completely dark in there, but you could see a little bit from the dim lights near the exits and some others near the front and back of the theater. The laughing continued. As we got closer to the back, we saw an old man sitting by himself in the top corner, laughing hysterically and looking and pointing right at us. We hadn't seen or heard him come in at all, and he really didn't seem to be there when we first came in.
Yeah, that'd be kind of strange. You just look up and you see an old man laughing and pointing at you, and you didn't see him there before. I'll be like, what is this dude laughing at? There ain't no movie playing. That would be funny. So this guy is either mentally insane or he's laughing like he's going to get him. And those two boys need to hurry up and run out of there quick. I don't know, but it already sounds creepy.
We got so creeped out that both of us ran away as fast as we could. As we ran out the auditorium, the man's laughter seemed to be getting louder as we left. Finally, we were back in the hallway, and we left the building and rode our bikes all the way home. We never went back to that theater.
All it takes is one crazy person to ruin a nice event or evening at a movie theater. Then people don't want to go back to them anymore. But thank God they did the right thing and just ran away from that dude, because it seemed like he was completely out of his mind. And they don't even want to know what he would have done to him if he ganged up on them. But thankfully they didn't get followed home either. But that is really scary to experience at a movie theater.
I used to work at a movie theater when I was in high school.
Okay.
It was a decent job because I could get lots of free popcorn to bring home to my family.
Hey, that is one good benefit about working at a movie theater. You probably be able to get some free popcorn or other snacks while working there. I don't know. I haven't worked in our local movie theater, so I wouldn't know if they had the same policy or not. But if your family wanted to watch a movie at home, you get the snacks, and it don't cost you a dime. But anyway, let's continue.
We would occasionally get into movies for free.
That's also cool.
I also liked my coworkers because a couple of them went to high school with me. But on one night in particular, I was working at the concessions, and as it got late, all of the other workers went home, except for me and a guy named Robbie. When it was finally time to close, I went to clean the auditorium that was last used. I went in, and I was happy to see that it wasn't that dirty. There was just some garbage scattered around the floor. I went over and began to sweep it up. Then I heard the door open and shut. I expected to see Robbie or someone walk in, but I didn't see anyone. From inside where I was, you can't see the doorway because there's a little wall blocking it. I guess somebody opened the door but then walked away and decided not to come in. I kept sweeping. About 5 minutes later, I finished and went to leave. But when I got in sight of the doorway, I saw a man standing in front of it blocking it. It wasn't Robbie. In fact, I didn't recognize him at all. It was a kind of big man, about 6 feet tall, dark hair, a dark jacket, and a big build.
Yeah, I'll be wondering how in the world he got in the movie theater unless he was hiding all this time. And I'll be like, sir, I hate to be rude, but it's closing time. We're trying to clean up here. But I got a bad feeling that this guy is bad news, and you better not make him angry.
I asked him if I could help him. He responded by saying, "Yes, come here," and opened his arms like he wanted a hug. The way he said it was just so creepy I immediately backed away. When I did, he began to walk after me. I turned to run, but he caught up with me and put his arms around me. He was much bigger than I was. I screamed as loud as I could. The man told me to shut up and covered my mouth with his hand. I moved around and struggled as much as I could, but the man had his arms around me and I was unable to escape. He started walking me to the exit, telling me to be quiet or he would hurt me. We got about 5 feet from the door when it swung open and I saw Robbie standing there. He ran up and hit the man, and there was a struggle. I was able to free myself, and I immediately went to call the police. Robbie and the man struggled in a fight for about a minute. I did what I could to help him. Then the man was able to break free and run out of the room and leave the building. We walked out to see several police cars and the man apprehended. I am very grateful for Robbie for getting me out of that situation.
Yeah, you got that right, because that's just kind of creepy knowing that a man acted like he wanted to hug, but then he ends up grabbing you. And when you start hollering, he wants to cover your mouth and be like, be quiet. So it seemed like that person wanted to kidnap him. But thankfully, their co-worker Robbie opened up the door and saw them and swung at that dude to let the other worker go. And they called the cops and they showed up right before he escaped. And they don't have to worry about him no more.
Last year, I took my 5-year-old son to the movies. It was an afternoon, and I usually don't go at that time, but I had the day off work. It was weird to go during the day, but it was very nice because there was hardly any people there at all. We saw some kids' movie that my son really liked. After the movie, we were walking down the hallway when a lady approached us. From the moment she started talking, she seemed a bit off. She seemed to be in her 50s, and the things she said did not make a whole lot of sense. She said something along the lines of she needed a ride to her boyfriend's and she had no money. I told her sorry, but I couldn't help. I didn't know what she was doing at a movie theater if she had no money. It seemed so odd and sketchy to me. She asked a few more times, but I stuck to my gut of it being a bad idea to invite her into my car with my 5-year-old son, and I said no. My son and I left and walked into the parking lot. I could sense the woman following us, and when I turned around, I saw that she was in fact following. I did my best to ignore her, and my son and I got into my car and left. As I was driving away, I saw the woman get into a car and drive off as well. That confirmed to me how sketchy she was in fact, because she clearly didn't need a ride if she had her own car. I saw her pull out of the parking space and cut across the parking lot and then began trailing me in my car. I was afraid she was going to follow me home. But luckily for me, a car pulled out in front of her and got between us, so that made me feel a lot better. About 10 minutes later, we got home and went inside. But not too long after that, I saw the lady's car pull up. She parked right in front of our house. My wife asked who was here. I didn't want to worry her. I said I didn't know and decided to go out and confront the lady. I walked outside to her car. I asked her why she followed me home. She began apologizing over and over, saying that her friend lived over this way and started walking down our street in the other direction. I was not buying her story, but what could I do? She walked away and I went back inside. Her car was still parked in front of our house, which concerned me, but at least she was gone. A few hours went by and I had no sight of the woman. I actually began to question myself and worry about her safety a little because she did not seem too well in the head. I also didn't think she was fit to be driving. I was watching TV that night at about 8 p.m. when I heard a pounding at my front door. Then I heard screaming. My wife and son came into the room and I got up to see the woman pounding hysterically on our front door. This time, I didn't hesitate to call the police, and I told my wife and son to go into our bedroom. I stayed by the front door, hoping that the woman would go away and the pounding would stop. She was stubborn though, and she stayed at it for a good 5 minutes. Then the police showed up and took her away. My front door had some damage, but overall was still in good shape. I hope the lady gets the help that she needs.
Well, I would feel bad not accepting an offer for a lady that needed a ride, but if I found out after I refused that she was following me and then get into a car, I'd be like, yeah, she's full of bull crap. She probably was messed up in the head and she wanted to take it out on you. But thankfully, he did the right thing, called the cops, and they got her out of there. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more Nighttime Spooks content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man Square channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I say that's a wrap, and that's the deal.